An invitation to the legend of the mind. Silence. Then the sound of waves and a distant whisper. Some heroes are remembered for their swords, others for their minds. This is not the story of the strongest man. This is the story of the most patient one. The walls of Troy did not fall to brute force. They collapsed under the weight of an idea. A man who bargained with gods, stood before monsters, and turned his back on immortality. A king, a father, a husband, and above all, a man who wanted to go home. This is the story of Odysseus, a legend where intelligence fights destiny and the road reshapes the soul. Now, we step into the place where time stands still. Some wars begin long before the first sword is drawn, and some men never wish to become legends. Odysseus was the king of Ithaca, but what set him apart from other kings was not his crown, it was the way he thought. Ithaca was not a great kingdom, no massive armies, no shining palaces, but Odysseus possessed something most kings did not: foresight. When whispers of the Trojan War began to spread, Greek kings armed themselves without hesitation. For them, it was about honor, a woman's pride, a king's wounded ego. But Odysseus was different. He understood what war truly was, because war does not change the victors, it changes the survivors. At that time, Odysseus was newly married. Penelope, quiet, intelligent, unbreakable, and he had a newborn son, Telemachus. His world was small, but it was real. That is why, when the call to Troy came, he did not want to go. Because for some men, a kingdom is not land to be conquered, it is people to be protected. So Odysseus chose deception. The madness. One morning, the people saw him in the fields, but something was wrong. He had yoked an ox and a donkey to the same plow and was sowing salt instead of seeds. It made no sense. Odysseus has gone mad, they said. But the Greek kings were not convinced. They tested him in the cruelest way possible. They placed his infant son Telemachus in front of the plow. Odysseus stopped, not as a king, not as a warrior, but as a father. And in that moment, his fate was sealed. The road to Troy. As Odysseus boarded the ship, he looked back. Penelope did not cry, but her eyes spoke everything. This was not a farewell. It was a separation, and Odysseus knew it would not be short. The first years of siege. Troy's walls stood tall, thick, unyielding. The Greeks attacked. They failed. Years passed. Achilles burned with rage. Agamemnon drowned in pride. And Odysseus watched. Because Odysseus did not grow powerful on battlefields, he grew powerful in dead ends. Odysseus did not go to Troy to win a war. He went to survive it. But destiny had other plans, and the price of intelligence had not yet been paid. Some ideas do not save cities. They destroy them. Years had passed. The Trojan War was no longer a campaign. It was a prison. The Greek army was strong, but hope was dying. Men aged. Memories faded. Troy still stood. And Odysseus understood. This city would never fall by force. The idea. What he proposed was not a plan, It was a deception. A massive wooden horse, empty but not truly empty. Selected soldiers would hide inside. The Greeks would pretend to leave, and Troy would open its own gates. This was not heroism. This was betrayal by intelligence. The warning ignored. Laocoon shouted, "Beware of Greeks bearing gifts," but people prefer victory to warnings. The horse was pulled inside. That night, Troy slept. The fall. The moon rose, wine flowed. Shadows emerged from the horse. The gates were opened, fire followed, and Troy burned. Odysseus did not celebrate because he knew this victory had awakened the gods. After Troy fell, the Greeks believed the war was over. They were wrong. The sea was calm at first, and that calm was a lie. Polyphemus. A cave, milk, cheese, and then the giant returned. Polyphemus, son of Poseidon. Men were eaten. Escape was impossible. Odysseus acted. He gave the giant wine. "My name is Nobody," he said, and he blinded him. When Polyphemus screamed for help, no one came because nobody was hurting him. The moment of pride. As they escaped, Odysseus shouted back, "I am not Nobody. I am Odysseus, king of Ithaca." And with that, the curse was born. Poseidon's answer. The sea turned hostile. Storms rose. Ships were destroyed. Men died. Odysseus lived to suffer longer. His intelligence saved him. His pride condemned him. And the journey home became punishment. Not all traps are made of steel. Some are made of comfort. Circe. Men turned into beasts. Odysseus resisted. Circe admired him. She let them go. The sirens. Their song promised truth. Odysseus wanted to hear it. Bound to the mast, he listened without surrendering. Scylla and Charybdis. One monster or total destruction. Odysseus chose. 6 men died. Leadership always costs lives. Calypso, an island beyond time. Immortality offered. Odysseus wept. Because Ithaca was not a place, it was a woman, Penelope. He could have stayed, but some men choose mortality because it makes love real. Years later, Odysseus returned, unrecognized, disguised as a beggar. His home was filled with strangers, men eating his food, mocking his wife. Penelope still waited. The test. The bow. No one could draw it. Odysseus did. The arrow flew. Silence followed. Justice. Blood was spilled. The suitors fell. Odysseus reclaimed his throne. But he was no longer the same man. Odysseus won, but only by losing everything, and learned this: the greatest journeys are not across seas, they are within the soul.